This is To The Point, a Rhino experience. Voted one of the top home services marketing and operations podcasts. Cutting through the bullshit and getting to the point.
To the Point listeners are in for a treat today with my man from Hansen, Heating and Air. Heating and Air.
I think you said that right.
Heating and Air. That's how they say it back where I'm from in Indiana.
It's heat and air.
Heat and Air. Oh, it's going to be a good one today, Paul. You ready?
Of course I am,
Listen.
man. The energy's really high in here. Got a lot going on. Last week's podcast with Ken Goodrich was off the charts. The feedback we're getting is incredible.
Right. And given that today is the last day of March, Rhino X is tomorrow, which I've been past at this point. I think this will probably launch next week. But we're excited, man. The energy is at an all-time high in here. Plus, we have, listen, I've been trying to make sure I say your last name correct.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Hold on. Don't tell me. I'm going to try it, okay?
Oh, boy.
But is it Setchell?
That's exactly it.
Was it
No
really
shit.
that hard? That is how it's
exactly it.
spelled, Chris. Like, that is literally how it's spelled.
Well, we have the
phonetically.
owner of Hansen Heating and Air, Chad Setchell, in the office, who's also a Rhino customer.
Absolutely.
But
Thank
he's
you.
in the studio.
As am I,
And he is here for Rhino X.
which is a big deal.
Very exciting.
It is exciting. And just happens to be a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan.
Absolutely.
Nice job, producer Kyle. That was live.
Okay.
Because Gary will have had been here by the time this post. But yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk is flying out tomorrow with D-Rock. So if you're a Gary V fan, he and D-Rock are coming out, and they're going to spend time with about 30 contractors throughout the country talking about the future.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
pretty exciting.
For sure. It's going to be an exciting day, but this is going to be a great podcast. Why? Because I think what I love about this is as I've gotten to know Chad, and Chad actually and I go way back, so we'll talk about that story a little bit, but is that he the way our paths crossed was kind of interesting. When it was back in our days of building apps.
Yep.
And we built it. We were building apps, and he had a phenomenal brand.
Yeah.
It was a badass brand, and I was like, "Ooh, we're going to use that. We're going to use that brand for his app."
This is back before like the wave of brand consciousness hit,
This
right?
was probably
was
like
early.
2013,
Yep.
14,
Yes,
somewhere around
exactly.
there. So it's been a while ago when we were trying to build apps for HVAC and plumbing contractors. But before I get into all that too, I just want to go through a couple things and say, first off, say welcome. Glad
Thank
you can
you.
be here.
Great to be here.
Okay, so before we get into anything though, what I want to do is I want to make sure we give the listeners an idea of who you are in addition to the business side of chat. Okay?
Yep.
Ready? So first thing we're going to do is figure out, if Chad could have dinner with anybody, alive or dead, doesn't matter where, anybody alive or dead, who would you have dinner with?
That'd probably definitely be my mom. She passed away about 4 years ago.
Okay, that's
So,
probably
yeah.
Good answer.
that'd be a good one. You and your mom are super close.
Absolutely. That's where the original name came from, Hansen.
I did not know that.
Name. Setchell Heating and Air didn't click.
Yeah.
As you know, it's hard to pronounce.
yeah,
But Ken did great with it.
yeah. but
So
good
I
point.
should have rolled with it. But yeah, that'd be the one person.
Yeah, good point. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's pretty cool. And the name of the company has real meaning too. It's not just a
Absolutely.
name. It's actually
Absolutely.
got a lot of
Yeah, it's got
legacy.
a family name.
emotion attached to it. Okay, great. Next one. And man, it's actually interesting because we were talking about it ahead of time. Jens Pulver, former UFC lightweight champion.
He just landed.
of the
He's on
world,
his
just
way
landed
in.
on his way over here.
Little Evil.
Little Evil on his way over here. Flew in from Iowa, and so that's where you're from originally,
Yes,
Marshalltown.
Yes.
Marshalltown,
Yep.
Marshalltown, Iowa.
So Marshalltown has deep HVAC roots, right?
Lennox
is there.
yeah.
So you said your father worked for Lennox?
35 years. He just retired a couple of years ago.
No kidding. What was he doing? Working in the factory?
I think just the manufacturing of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Maintenance, actually maintenance of it.
So is that how you got into HVAC to a degree? Or?
No, not really. I started out in electrical. I was an electrician. I quit high school when I was 16. The day I quit high school, my parents kicked me out, so I went to work for an electrical contractor.
Yeah.
And worked for him for a couple of years. And you go from job site to job site. You work really hard, and other people try to cherry pick you off the job. And that's how I got hooked up with an air conditioning contractor, and it's been like that forever since.
And that's what took you to Mobile?
No, actually, I moved to St. Louis, and then got a divorce, moved to Mobile, Alabama, just because I didn't have nothing else going on. My mom lived down there, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to go down and try to, new place, new area. Got down there, I just absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
The weather was amazing. The people were amazing. The scenery was amazing. I thought, you know what, this is where I'm going to stay.
So I've never been. I've never been to Mobile, Alabama. But you know what? I remember a key story out of Mobile, Alabama that has been ingrained in my brain ever since I first saw it. Now, ironically, this particular holiday that just passed called St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And down in Mobile, Alabama, actually the Crichton community to be specific, there was a leprechaun sighting.
Yeah, years ago.
In the Crichton community. Do you remember that whole?
Yeah.
Was that actually like something that really? Like,
I mean, Crichton's like, a poor area.
Sure.
I mean, so it was like,
it was
somebody seeing something that
and somebody
they probably had a little help, chemical substance to help them see that.
But somebody had a sketch, like a
like this is him,
a police sketch of it,
in a pot of gold,
and it was literally it looked like this.
Chris's drawing. It's a man with a hat. Eyes,
it was a leprechaun that was drawn.
That's
like
exactly it right there.
So if you look up Leprechaun, Alabama, guaranteed you'll find it. It is hilarious.
Look that up, producer Kyle. We want to know more about that.
Leprechaun sighting. I'm a leprechaun. Anyway, okay, so the segue worked out okay. We kind of bypassed my intro song question, but that's where I was going to go with Jen's Pulver. Is Jen's coming in has an intro song, and well, you'll see tomorrow. But I always like to ask the guests too. Besides asking, hey, what would you sing karaoke? Because I know what my karaoke song would be. Do you know what my karaoke song would be?
Everybody knows what your karaoke. Chris at a karaoke bar is always like, "Let me see the book," and then he looks through. He goes, "I'll take Journey." Don't stop believing. Every time. I'll pick this one.
Maybe I'll stop. Maybe I'll give this one a try.
Yeah,
stop.
That's hilarious.
But
I'm usually in bed.
Man, I don't
That's true.
know my karaoke song. I've
So
never
hold
even
on.
thought about it.
Well, it's okay.
Right.
But if you're going to walk out, because I know in Mobile who the man is. I know who the man in the home services industry is. He's sitting right across from me right now, looking me in my eye. Now, you walk out, you're getting ready to fight whoever it is, doesn't matter. You got your gloves on.
Right.
You know what we're going to do? This is going to be a mixed martial arts, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right.
That curtain pulls back, you walk out, and your intro song is going to be what?
You follow, I don't know if you guys know this guy, David Goggins. I follow him.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Religiously.
Yep.
Can't hurt me.
Yeah, and he plays that Rocky song. Every time that dude does something, that's what he plays. So that'd be my song.
David Goggins.
I mean, he is the baddest MF'er in the world.
For sure.
That dude is he can get your mindset. He can put a little Facebook post on there and just set your whole mindset for 2 weeks just by what his whole philosophy is.
I used to, when he would post on Instagram, he'd be running, he'd be like, I'm on mile 742, and he's like doing it live.
Yeah. One time I saw that thing where he was doing like a marathon and he stopped to take a break and he pulled his socks off and his feet are just like hamburger. And somebody said to him, why aren't you stopping? You're going to be in so much pain. And he said, why would pain make me stop? And it's like, golly, if you can get into that mindset, man, anything is possible.
But let's be right. The dude ain't right either.
Oh,
he's got some switches missing.
It's just
have you read the book Living with a Seal?
No.
Okay, so it's the book
that,
where you read it, Chris. I remember telling you when you read it, you weren't going to be able to read it without stopping and doing push-ups on the airplane. But the author of that book hired him to live with him for 30 days and train him.
Really?
He lived with him for 30 days, and we actually met as Jesse Itzler.
Yep.
So Chris and I, as part of our personal and I guess team development, went and spent a camp. We did a weekend camp with Jesse Itzler, and it involved some 4-hour, 17-mile endurance stuff, and
it was
all
ridiculous.
sorts of mindset
insane.
and diet, nutrition. But it was that was one of the more impactful things. But Goggins, he ain't right.
Well, actually, and ironically, that's where we met Jens.
That's right.
Really?
So Jens,
No kidding.
he spoke there, and what was interesting is at this event, I mean, it was really, really cool. There was a lot of really high-profile speakers,
right?
And they saved Jens for last. And Jens came up, and he's super humble. You'll meet him tomorrow. He's just one of the guys.
Or today,
yeah.
Might
He's going to walk in here
Sure.
in a moment. His story about his upbringing
Absolutely.
and his father putting a gun in his mouth and saying, "You're not worth the bullet."
Yeah.
Right? I just got chills.
Yeah.
and then beat him up.
Yeah, so we're excited to share his story tomorrow. Well,
Yeah,
he'll share his story.
It's going to kind of be around that whole mindset thing too, and overcoming adversity and stuff like that. So it's going to be a great story. I don't want to ruin it, so that's all you're going to give him.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
realize how long how important mindset is.
Yep.
And it's like one of the most important keys there is.
I love it.
Love it. So let's do this because we kind of went through a little bit of like.
Are we on a podcast still? This is live.
Yeah. That's what's great about this podcast, right? It's just like a conversation. That's the whole point of it.
Yep.
So once you get to Alabama, like, and you start Hansen, and it's always been Hansen?
Yes.
Okay. So let's walk through that process, because today, now, I think I read it was like you had $100 a white van.
Yep.
And
That's
then
how it started.
And then you end up at like 50 million or something like that, or somewhere in that range. But like, help me understand that story a little bit. I know what the growth looks like.
I really, when I got back to Mobile, Alabama, I thought, you know what, this really isn't something I didn't want to do air conditioning anymore. I got kind of burned out from it for a while, and it kind of, I just got burned out. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go do a different route, do something totally different than air conditioning. And I got down there, and it just kept on calling me. I just couldn't get away.
What'd you do?
Really, I was just doing like some home repair stuff for people. Just actually tiling and sheetrock work. I just tried to stay away from air conditioning. And then,
how old were you at this time?
I was in my middle 30s.
Okay.
Was it crawl space market down there?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you're from the Midwest, where you walk downstairs into a basement, you move the Christmas tree, sit on a bench, and install a furnace.
Exactly.
So it's a different ball game when you're shimmying
Or
across
attics,
the back.
Attics,
You're like, I'm gonna do some crown molding. I get it, man.
Oh yeah. Pulling dead animals out from under houses so you can put ductwork in.
A whole different ball game.
Gross.
Yeah, so I thought I'd get out of it, but then I started doing it for a couple of people, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get right back into it. And you kind of look at the market down there, and it was wide open. You had some big players down there, but I came from a market, and one of the big things that got me going was Google AdWords.
Ooh.
Because in the Midwest at the time, when I got out of it, Google AdWords was just starting, and it was huge.
What year is this?
Probably 2007.
Oh, you were out way in front. You were like Yano.
So 2006 is when I got out of it, and Google AdWords is just starting.
Oh, yeah.
And Google Search and all that stuff is just starting.
Paper clips.
Right. And
Paper
it
clips.
seemed like up north, people were really into the internet. Down south, people didn't care about the internet.
Yep.
So I get down there, I start up, and I hit the Google AdWords, and I'm the only dude down there running Google AdWords for 2 years.
Oh, man.
At $4 a click.
Shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, so it was just like all my work was coming in from Google, and it just gave me a huge boost.
Yeah.
Which made a massive difference, because just trying to get started in an established market is difficult.
And it wasn't just, now did you run Yellow Page ads and all that stuff too?
Absolutely. I'm not going to lie to you, I still run them.
Yeah.
And the reason I still run them now is because you get that magnet on the front.
Oh.
So they put the magnet on the front, and I've had that magnet for like 7-8 years now. And people grab the phone book, they peel the magnet off, throw the phone book away, and put the magnet on the fridge.
Yep.
So you can go to almost any house in Mobile, Alabama right now. So over a period of 8 years, there is a Hansen heating and air magnet on their fridge.
Love it.
So that's just something. You don't want to give it up. One thing about that magnet too, it was super, super expensive at the time to get it, because a lawyer group dropped off and it became available, and the Yellow Pages were scrambling saying, hey, we need to sell this now. And they came to me and asked me about it, and I asked everybody close to me, and everybody said to me, oh, it's a horrible idea. And I just made up my mind, I'm going to do it. I called the Yellow Pages, I'll take it.
Jeez.
And it's just been
magnets.
Yeah, so now I don't give it up now just because my competitors want it so bad. So I'm just going to keep a hold of it. I hate on them a little bit.
Yep. And Gary actually talked about this morning on a call with you, Chris, where it's not about or, it's about and. It doesn't have to be digital or Yellow Book or this. It's
exactly.
And.
Exactly it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's been. I'm so excited to have him share, because obviously in the social space, like he's a leader. Like he is a leader. He's obviously super invested in a lot of the social platforms, the Twitters, the Instagram, the Snapchat, and even what's the new Clubhouse that's out recently. So I'm interested just to have everybody else who's been kind of maybe stuck into that or mindset.
Yes.
To have them hear
just
what
to
he
get
has
his
to say.
perspective about stuff is vital to me.
Yep. So Paul, what do you say we get into this a little bit? We'll start
can-
tapping into our questions.
You want me to jump in first?
Yeah, let's do it.
I was going to ask this later, but I want to jump right into it. So you're down in Mobile. You figured out the AdWords game. You're at this point, you're still a small company, kind of just doing your own thing. You're in the truck.
Absolutely.
So this is a two-part question. Part one is, what was the process going from you being in the truck to you having people doing work for you? And two, where did brand come into that with Dan Antonelli and Kick Charge, and where did that bring you?
Well, the biggest thing is that I'm down there, I'm working, and I'm very, very aggressive about getting work done, about getting new customers, and just getting after it. Yep. And sometimes when you want to stay real busy, you lower your price to a point that you shouldn't be lowering it to.
Yep.
Because you feel like, hey, I'm just starting out, and I need to take that work. I'm going to do it for a little bit less than nothing, and keep moving on.
Yep.
So what happened is, so you start adding service techs. I started adding service installers, and we're busy. We're working overtime. We're busier and busy can be.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, there's no money.
Yeah.
nothing.
Top line, no
Yeah,
bottom
you
line.
worked all year long, and you in the end of the year you didn't make nothing. And that really right there really influenced me to the point where I think, man, I got to do something different. And Dan Antonelli, at that time, he was graphic designs. I've been following him, religiously forever. And you get on his website. His website was like when I was a kid, the JCPenney catalog. That's what his
still
website
is. I still show people. I'm like, look at this.
I know you get on his website and just go through all the brands he's made, and it's just they're amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, so one day I finally got the courage to call him, find out how much it cost, and when they came back with the numbers, I about passed out.
It was like 10 grand just for a logo.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's just to talk to him. They said, hey, give me your credit card before we can talk to you. I mean, I'm just saying. So I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, but in my mind, so in my mind, I'm thinking, no matter what, we're doing it.
Oh,
and
rack that. No matter what, we're doing it.
Yeah. So I took all the money I had. I probably put some on credit cards, and I had him do it. I mean, we did the website, the logo, the band wraps, the letterhead. I didn't even have no letters to send to anybody, but I thought I had to have it. The business cards, everything. I did it, and at that time, when we got the wrap back, I wrapped 4 vans.
Wow.
I signed up with him for the SEO, the AdWords, everything.
Yep.
Facebook. I signed up with everything with him. I mean, I said, if you offer it, I want it.
Damn.
And at the time too, I said to him, you just pick what you want it to look like. And I said, I'm going to accept it. And I sent him a couple colors I like. Man, he didn't use none of them. He sent me something back, and I looked at that color, and it's like a color I despise.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm just going to roll with it. And so I kept it, and it just worked out amazingly. And so the branding is probably, and Dan is so easy to work with, and he's so smart. I could send Dan, and we kind of grew away from Dan. And nothing against Dan, because he does an amazing job, but we moved away marketing-wise, so I really don't do anything with Dan anymore.
Well, he doesn't do the marketing.
Money-wise anymore.
And for those listening who don't know Dan Antonelli, which I'm be surprised if you didn't, but we're talking about Kick Charge Marketing.
Yes.
Kick Charge is just amazing.
Yeah.
And so I don't, but I could send him an email right now, and that dude would respond immediately with an answer. 90% of the time, it's not what I want to hear, but it's an answer.
See, and that's the New York, New Jersey end that you just have to appreciate.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, it actually keeps my perspective, because all I hear all day long, oh, Chad, you're so one. Oh, you're doing such a great job.
That's a great idea. That's a great color
fantastic.
scheme.
You keep on doing that, but then you can hear this, say, man,
yes,
that's
man.
terrible. And then Dan sends you me a month. That's pretty much the stupidest thing I've heard this month, but here's what I would do. So I mean, it just keeps your perspective correct. But that was the biggest step. And then when I got the lap, we wrapped 4 vans, and it's been a fireball ever since.
I love it. And it's the burgundy and blue.
Yeah, it's
color.
got blues into it. Then, Chris Hunter in Oklahoma. And I mean, this dude. I mean, I love Chris Hunter. I followed him religiously.
Another saint.
And I followed him. When he was in Hunters before he
Super Tech.
Yeah, Super Techs. And I mean, we moved into where we're doing electrical and plumbing too, so our colors changed with the service that we offered. Yep. So we put electrical's orange, plumbing's purple, refrigeration's blue. So we moved we did the same exact thing. And he's done, I mean, what he built there was remarkable.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he did a beautiful job with it, and he's the same thing. You just follow that same recipe, man, and it's just, you're going to kill it.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of going on in the industry right now. It's like everyone's guard is down, and they're recognizing they can learn so much and elevate the entire industry, and that's kind of why we're having this event tomorrow.
The thing, too, is that, if you're an air conditioning contractor starting out today and you're on a couple of Facebook groups, you're going to be exposed to people that I wish I was exposed to 15 years ago. Because these guys will change your life. And like, Dan, he'd send people, say, hey, this person's thinking about charging over. Would you talk to him if he called you? I said, sure. You send me anybody. And I tell every single one of them, Dan will change your life. He will put money in your pocket.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about.
Well, and that's exciting. And so a little bit of a history with Chad and I is, again, when we were talking about, we built this app for him, and we'd used this new brand. He created the whole new, and I was like, this thing is badass. I'm going to put it in
and it was fresh at that time.
It was like we were first, first to market.
And you did a beautiful job with it. I mean, it looked amazing.
Yeah, we put it on all of our promotional stuff everywhere. The pop-up banners, took it to all the trade shows, whether it be.
I mean, how cool was it to see your brand come to life on a, iPad back in the day?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it humbled you quick. Absolutely.
We were first to market with all that stuff too. But what's interesting about this is, once Dan Antonelli caught wind of it, he was pissed.
Not happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He called me. I mean, I'm driving down the road, and he calls me. I'm thinking, hey, Dan's calling me. Hey, Dan, what's going on?
This ought to be good.
Who in the hell is Rhino?
He was pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we didn't steal your brand.
Exactly. He just used it.
It just
Yeah.
used it.
Yeah.
You did a
Yeah.
great job.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations. All I did was built an app and used the brand. And I didn't even know Dan then either.
Right.
So that's what kind of made it fun. And that's actually kind of how this whole thing came full circle, is that whenever we had announced our strategic partnership with Dan Antonelli, it came back up, and I saw Chad, and I was like, Chad, you remember when?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't
I'll
it
never
ironic?
forget.
Yeah.
Dan was mad.
Yep. And again, we don't take advertisers, but we are the official digital marketing agency for Kickcharge
We
Creative.
certainly are.
And we
Absolutely.
we love the team, Terry and Danny and Dan. And the thing I struggle with is there's so many people other than Dan. Everyone's like, Dan. I'm like, man, he's got a squad behind
Yeah.
him.
They got a lot
that's
of
like-
people.
Yeah, well, people
Lot of
don't know
people.
is, like Dan is the guy, but he actually has, he's got great staff that's doing a lot of the work, really. So, like,
Absolutely.
so he can go ride his bike a little
But
bit longer.
if you think he's sitting in the corner in his office drawing pictures, you're absolutely right.
He is.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's what
Yep.
he does.
Yeah, it's great.
And, you look at his stuff recently, this amazing stuff.
Yeah, it just gets better.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
well, we get to see a lot of it,
Yeah,
obviously,
it's
so we work
just
so much together.
Amazing stuff.
So I want to get into this because one thing I've learned about you, and I've always known about you from the first time I met with you, is one, I love how direct you are.
Right.
You're super candid. I love that you're you're aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You're competitive.
Very.
You want to win.
Absolutely.
Based on your official title.
What's your official title here?
MMFIC.
I get it. I've got that. I don't
Yeah.
need to break that down.
Nope, don't need to break that down.
Sorry, my mom is a listener.
Right.
That's my
Yeah, right. That's right. She is. Hi, Mom. But I love your
Making
level,
many friends.
Your level of aggressiveness.
Right.
I'm the same way. Like, it is no secret
don't
that
say.
I am super high risk. I
like that.
I want to win.
Right.
I'm aggressive, but underneath all of it is my intent is good. I've
Right.
got it. I want to do it for everything for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
But listen, when you're my customer, guess whose ass I want to kick?
Exactly.
You're a competitor.
Exactly.
Because it's a responsibility I have.
Absolutely.
But we share that.
Absolutely.
So whenever you bring on someone like us as the vendor, I hate that word.
Yeah. Partner.
It's a partner.
Absolutely.
And when you treat me that way, or you treat the team this way, Megan's your account manager, but that's what we have a partnership.
Absolutely.
But I love your level of aggressiveness because it matches kind of how we roll too. So let's dig into that a little bit. Let's talk about being aggressive with growth. What does that mean to you? What's being aggressive mean?
Being
you-
aggressive is being ready at all times to take on any new work that comes your way. And I guess you have to just kind of decide what new work you want. And my philosophy has always been all new work. So we kind of built it. We kind of built our whole structure off any form of work out there. But the biggest thing you got to do is you got to advertise. You got to market, and you got to market better than everybody else. So one thing it did is I got the brand. I mean, I look the baddest. I look the baddest around. I mean, they see my vans rolling, and they look the best in the area.
How practical is that for someone else, though? If you're in Omaha or you're wherever,
I think anywhere it works anywhere.
Okay.
One thing I learned is that everything a Ford that's sold in Missouri is the same Ford sold in Dallas, and they're the same price.
Amen.
Everything's sold the same way across the country. You're just in different areas, and different people have different mindsets. But in the end, it all boils down to what you're offering.
Because that confidence is not well shared among the entire industry.
Absolutely
There's a lot of
not.
shakiness around
Absolutely.
that. So
Absolutely.
look like the baddest guy in town, and you will be.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look like the baddest guy and you act like the baddest guy, and there's a whole bunch of stuff underneath acting like the baddest guy that you have to perform, you will be the baddest person.
Love it.
And I mean, our organization, we are the baddest people out there. I mean, BMF. I mean, we're going to do it every single day, just like we every day. And I mean, to me, it's a competition every day. I wake up every single day, feel like I woke up and I feel, man, I'm failing miserably. What do I got to do to improve today? And that's my mindset going into it every day. But and it just keeps you on your toes. And I try to push that same mindset into everybody. One thing I got, just the wealth of information you get from all the Facebook stuff. Ishmael, his biggest thing is customer experience. I mean that, and he pushes that so hard, and and the first time I heard him say it was about a year ago, and I kind of adopted that, and I push it into my people too. What kind of experience are you giving our customer on it every single time?
Yep.
And it's worked wonderfully. And one of the things we try to do is just keep it simple. All we're trying to do is sell air conditioners.
Yep.
Sell and fix air conditioners, and that's it. Everything else is just noise that doesn't really affect us.
So
if we keep focused.
You've done some pretty cool things. So I obviously, over the years, even though Rhino is only a digital marketing company, we don't do anything else. I hear all kinds of different marketing tactics or branding.
Right.
Branding tactics. And there was one I heard, I can't remember if I read it, heard it, or you and I talked about it, but one of them was that I thought was brilliant that anybody can do is get involved with the parades.
Absolutely. And down south they got Mardi Gras parades.
Right.
Mobile is the birthplace of Mardi Gras. So every year we have.
Which is not a well-known fact, by the way.
Yeah, he owned that.
Yeah, you think everybody thinks it's New Orleans, but it's not. It's Mobile.
Right.
And they have huge Mardi Gras parades. And these parades bring 150,000 people.
How many trucks you got? Or how many vehicles you got?
How many vans?
Yeah,
About 130.
So do you use them to?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're using them to tow the floats, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole thing before we got into it, was that these organizations, Mardi Gras organizations, were getting charged by people to pull the floats for them, and we came in and said, you know what, we'll come in and do it for free.
Unreal.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. So in their mind, they're thinking, man, that's just nothing but great for us. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, this is nothing but free advertising. So you line up 40 trucks, pulling 40 parades with 150,000 people on the streets. It's a no-brainer.
How many trucks are you running now?
About 130. I think we got 132.
That's what I said. Yeah. So I mean. But if you got one, if you got 2, 3, get involved with the parade, offer to pull a float.
Yeah, now we're just doing almost every single parade to the point by the end of the Mardi Gras season, you're so burned out from it because you got to be there 2 hours early. You got to be there 2 hours after the parade.
Yep.
The parade lasts for an hour and a half, but I mean,
you're paying your guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But the exposure is just huge.
For sure.
Huge.
Did you ever feel, because you talk about being ready, right? Having the staff, having the trucks, being ready, pouring the marketing on. Did you ever feel like you were putting the cart in front of the horse, or did you ever have moments?
Yeah. I mean, at times you get real nervous about adding extra vehicles, adding extra people. What I did was just become a lot more aggressive in my marketing.
Yeah.
And I've done it every single year. This year I've got 4 or 5 more trucks than I should.
So when you're having that feeling where you're like, oh my gosh, I might have overdone it on trucks and bodies, you talk about throwing more at marketing. What specific marketing are you doing? Like what's working for you that takes the jitters away?
AdWords is a great, AdWords is probably one of your strongest things you can do.
Are AdWords underestimated and misunderstood in the industry?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
See, I just asked the
question.
Yeah,
but you talk to all the big companies in this country, they're going to tell you have to use AdWords.
Yeah.
You have no choice. And I hear a lot of guys say, oh, word of mouth is my biggest thing. Word of mouth is you're doing a bunch of free stuff for friends. That's what word of mouth is. Word of mouth will not put money in your pocket. It just will not do it.
Right.
It'll keep you busy, but it will not make you any profit. Biggest thing AdWords is huge. SEO is huge. I mean, that's one of the biggest things getting with you guys. Rhino is just like you guys are just dominating the market. And you look at your customer base, and all your customer base is successful.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
I mean, it's the truth. I mean, you look at all your customers
that.
and the customers you have, and I mean, all your customers are successful.
No, I mean, I appreciate that. There's the candor I love so much.
I appreciate it. Again, not an ad.
Not an ad.
No. I mean, it's
amazing.
You guys are killing it.
Yeah, we don't.
And we've just been with you in a short time, and I have my own in-house marketing people. I mean, I have 4 in-house marketing people, and when I tell them, hey, listen, by the way, tomorrow Rhino takes everything over. A couple of them fall out, a couple of them scream and yell. But even after 45 days, we see a huge difference just in our sales.
Man,
our calls that come in, and March is like our deadest year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
March, usually we're just sitting around looking at each other.
If we could not launch new client campaigns in February and March, we're like, can we wait? Let's go June 1st.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
amazing.
we've only been
unless you're here.
Yeah. So I mean, this month, March, we're going to sell $4 million.
Yeah.
And then my marketing people came to me last week. We had a meeting about some price book stuff we're putting together, and they're saying the Rhino stuff is amazing. You look at it, and it's so much different.
I love it, man.
Look at it, so much different than what we're using. It's just a whole different perspective.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I appreciate very much you saying that, and one obviously as a customer. And again, even though we kind of go back long, it's kind of cool to see it all come full circle.
Yeah.
And I wish it were some secret sauce, some magic formula, but it's people who truly care, doing things that are objectively known to help your business, and then being 100% transparent about what we're doing and how it's performing. There's the formula. There, you just started the next Rhino.
Exactly. And realistically, I probably got $1 million invested in SEO over the last 13 years and got nowhere with it because there's so many SEO scams out there, so many AdWords scams out there. And people fall for him every single day.
It's like, Ken Goodrich last week came in 100 pounds lighter than he was, and he didn't have some magic formula. He was like, no, I went for a walk every time I was on the phone. Like, that's SEO.
Exactly.
Is it hot?
Exactly.
Well, and he stopped drinking.
Yeah.
cut out the wine, but
Right.
but very minimal things like
Yeah.
walking. It doesn't seem like it could be that impactful, but it is. But really, I think it all boils back to your mental.
Yeah.
Like everything comes down to the mental health.
It's just like SEO. We made
It's just like
connection,
SEO.
right?
Exactly.
Just doing the work, grinding.
Do you want to jump in here, Chris? I
No,
know.
fine.
Okay,
Nope.
I want to talk about, being first with different marketing tactics. You're kind of putting yourself out there,
Absolutely.
right? And your competitors will follow suit. That's
Absolutely.
natural.
Every year.
How do you stay out ahead of it?
Number one, I try to outspend them.
Oh,
I mean, and that's one of the things in the AdWords market. I mean, the guy with the most money wins, and that's just what the reality of it is.
It is. Yep.
So I'm not going to be beating AdWords. I try to get fresh ideas in, and that's the nice thing about teaming up with you guys is that I've known Chris for a while. I know Chris is going to ride with me no matter how many people call you, if that makes any sense. So if all my competitors call you, they're going to say, well, you know what, we're already working with somebody, and that's super valuable to me. So that, that's, I'm just trying to hook up with the same people that have the same philosophy I do. Every year I try something different. You have to, because if you look at how everybody else is marketing, and I study everybody in my area. It's warfare. To me, it's warfare. So I'm studying what they're doing. I'm seeing how they're doing it, and their stuff just absolutely mimics mine.
yeah.
It's just almost word for word, paragraph for paragraph. It just absolutely mimics mine. So I have to constantly change it up, constantly do different things. Just like this year, we did 250,000 direct mails. And you would think, direct mail's dead, but it's not, because we sent out 100,000 in one of our areas, and we sold 40 generators, 100 systems,
Wow.
generated 300 service calls. So it's
Love
not dead. It's just something different. And the nice thing about it is everybody gets in their mind, okay, well, direct mail's dead, direct mail's dead, direct mail dead. So no one uses it. Then when you use it, everybody loves it. So by this time next year, all my poor people in my area are going to be buried under with air conditioning direct mail cards.
Yeah.
Because that's what all my competitors are going to do.
What are some more foundational marketing things that people may overlook, if you don't mind sharing?
I think the biggest thing is, you can market, but if you don't do the right stuff on the back end, you're just wasting your money.
Yeah.
You got to answer the phone. You got to have great people answering the phone. You got to have great people that actually go to the house and do the work. And you got to have people that follow through, communicate, and are accountable at all times. So you can market yourself to death, but if you don't do the other end of it, you're just wasting your time and your money.
So how have you pieced all of that together from, you've got the lead generation piece,
Yes.
lead conversion,
Yes.
lead conversion. So let's talk about answering the phones, booking appointments. What have you learned over the years? What have you tried?
The biggest thing what I've always heard about, I got hooked up with Louis Bruno, a few years back, and that guy just did amazing things for me. Changed my mindset, changed the complete way I think about approaching call by call, taking each and every call that comes into your center and really dissect it and really maximize it to justify how much you're spending in marketing. And, what we do is we have a formula, and we have ways, we have great people. Every single call that comes in our office gets answered. And I heard for years, what's your call booking rate? What's your call booking rate? I said, well, I don't know. What do you mean by that? And they said, well, when somebody calls, do you book their call? Yeah, 95% of the time we're going to their house. And we're just to the point now where it's just a no-brainer for people. They're calling, and we don't have to convince them on the phone to let us come to the house. We're going in there anyways.
Chris, what would you say the average booking rate is for just leads in general, qualified service and install leads?
Oh God, I don't know about. If it was new leads, I could at least give you that based on what our customers are. But I'd say it's
40%?
probably 38%.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, but our phones ring 1,500 times a day. Of course we got electrical, plumbing, and everything else mixed in.
Hold up, I want to come back to that. 1,500 calls a day. I've heard that.
Yeah, our phone rings about 1,500 times a day.
We've been in one office that's like that, right? In Austin.
I know where you're
ABC Home and Commercial. We were like, the phones never stop ringing. It's like a
That's
melody.
the way it is with us.
But tell me what that's like running a business with 1,500 phone calls a day. What's up, Jens? What's up, Jens? Good to see you, man.
It's stressful at times.
Yeah.
That's at $1,500. It can ring 2,000 times a day in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
But it gets stressful.
Did you say 2,000 times a day?
Easy.
A day?
Easy.
Good grief!
Yeah.
Come on, Mobile. What are we doing?
Yeah, there's all type of calls though. Callbacks. People calling, complaining.
Yeah.
That's all falls in the 2002. But it rings off the hook. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 14 people just answering phones all day long.
14 CSRs.
What are some other lead drivers for you, like old school stuff, door hangers, yard signs?
We still use door hangers, Facebook ads. We used a lot of Facebook ads, like a free service call. You know, one thing I learned from somebody, I don't even remember who I learned it from, a free Freon check. So we broadcast on Freon, on Facebook. Hey, you need a Freon check. We'll come by and check it for free.
Yep. To
tell you what your levels are, and if they're calling you saying they need the Freon check, they've had a Freon problem.
Right.
So you just wouldn't believe the amount of business that generates.
Yeah.
It keeps the people busy. We get out there, and then they tee the ball up for the customer and let them hit away.
Why have I never heard of that?
I don't know.
Chris, I've been in this industry for 15 years. Like, why have I never heard of that?
The thing about the free thing is you tell a contractor, give somebody something for free, and they act like you just smacked them in the mouth.
It cost me.
Yeah, you act like you just beat their dog and smacked them in the mouth.
It's free.
Yeah, they're looking at you like you've lost your mind.
Yep.
Hey, I got to pause for a moment. We got a special treat.
We do.
Because we just had a guest roll up into the studio with 2 different colored eyes.
That's how.
Jens Pulver in the studio, former UFC lightweight champion.
Always a champion. Right?
Always the champion. In town for Rhino X. Welcome, my man.
We don't have him mic'd up, so you're not going to hear him.
You won't hear him,
but you'll see some video tomorrow.
We will see some video. Welcome to the studio, brother. Glad you're to be here. You're sitting right next to Mr. Chad Setchell, who owns Hansen Heating and Air. From Iowa, Marshalltown.
Oh, and then there we go.
Oh, now the handshake comes out.
I love. We're starting to get. I saw a handshake there. We're starting to get back to like handshakes, bro hugs, high fives. Like I'm ready for that.
All right.
Yeah, I'm only half vaccinated, but I got a big hug coming for you, Jen, here in a moment.
All right. Get back into it. I think we're about what? Well, we're doing great on time. We never do this good. 36 minutes into it.
So what's next? You've got what are your growth plans for this year?
You know what? I really don't. I go into it mindset every year. I don't have a plan to grow. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
And like we ended the year this year like $50 million. And
like $50 million.
I'm looking
right
at
around.
And every single year we end a year at this astronomical number. I'm thinking there's just no way we can top it next year. And we're going into this year, and I think this year already we're like at 13 million in 3 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, oh my
Let's
God.
go.
I look at numbers like, air conditioning wise, I want to sell 35 million next year. And I'm looking at it now and I'm kind of dissecting and thinking, well, it's going to be pretty easy to get there.
There's going to be some people that are listening to this that are like, he didn't even think about growth. I'm not even thinking about it. I just this year we're probably going to, we're going to.
I think if you market and you stand behind what you're marketing and you got a dynamic brand, you ain't got no choice but to grow. And you just have no choice. And then you train your people. And we used some training earlier this year with Jason Walker, and that kid is just dynamic.
Yeah.
He just changed the mindset of 13 people in my organization.
Tell me more about that.
We built his site. We support his site.
He's just a great kid. I met him last year. He messaged me and said, hey, I'm going to be in Mobile. Would you like to meet for breakfast sometime? And I sat down and talked to him and just knew right away the kid was just amazing. So he set up a time to come do his training, and he gets there. And he's walking in. He's got like fight music stuff, calling himself J-Dub and my
J-Dub.
Yeah, and I got a couple rednecks, in my crew, and they're looking at him like, what? And they're looking at me, and they're looking at him like, what have you gotten us into?
Yeah.
And
wait, he walks in to fight music?
I think he had some kind of music playing when he walked in. I don't know if it was playing when he walked in, but he walked in, and he goes up and he puts his little his boom box on the table, and pushes play, and he says, yeah, and he's So he was there for a week, and he just
a week. He puts on the company uniform. He rides in the truck. He goes out and sells stuff.
He sells enough, so we pay like our commission. We pay good commission to our guys that sell equipment. He sells enough in that week by himself to cover whatever he costs. Really. So
what a value.
Yeah, exactly. So what he sold that week covered what I had to pay him to come out there and train.
So what is it about because I get the media side of what he does. Like I know the podcast and all that, I know his public persona, but what is it about when he gets in front of a group of technicians who are strangers, who all have a bias against people like him? How does he get their buy-in, and then how does it change their behavior?
I think the biggest thing is that he was in their position. He was a sales guy. He was an installer. He was a shop guy at one time.
Was he a technician ever?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He was a warehouse, a technician, a sales guy. He's done it all. When I started following Jason a couple years ago, he was doing the training and also working for a company in Sacramento at the same exact time. And then he made that big announcement.
Yeah.
And for a while there, I was real confused. I couldn't understand, well, how am I seeing you training stuff? And then next week you're taking pictures of yourself inside your van selling air conditioners. I think I was just like really confused. But when I finally put it together, I kind of realized when he came out and said, hey, listen, I'm doing this full time now. And the guy, he just goes in there and he just can relate to everybody. He comes in with something that is just totally new on how to look at things. And he just changes their mindsets. And every single one of my people just loved him.
I've heard you say mindset twice. What do you think about mindset, Jens? Is that a thing? Mindset's pretty key, huh? That's right.
Yeah, that's a good word for it, mandatory.
You got to create your autopilot.
Absolutely.
Change up that autopilot.
Absolutely.
So I love the Jason Walker story. So HVAC Masters of the Hustle. You can look him up. I love his story because I feel like, and HVAC is always late to the game in terms of innovation and technology and communication, all those things. But I feel like we hit a moment this year where it's like, it's an equal playing field. You don't have to be I won't name any training organization, but you don't have to be part of that to be able to share what's been, helpful for you in Sacramento with someone that's in Mobile, Alabama.
Exactly.
And to see people like Jason now, who I hope I would imagine doing very, very well for himself and providing a great life for his family. That is the beauty of the internet.
Yep.
And the thing about him, though, too, is he grinds it out. That dude is somewhere every single week.
Yeah.
On the weekend, he's doing little podcast things. I mean, he's on it.
And he stays. I know he came up to Mount Airy, North Carolina, and worked with one of our clients up there, and he stayed over the weekend and was riding.
Well, I texted him yesterday. I sent him over a customer. He's like, yeah, well, next year can I come speak at Rhino X?
And that's the thing I try to, and people that are, other contractors that are just starting out or they're struggling or whatever they're doing, look at the whole pattern. When Jason comes to me, I had Jason, Dan, you. And think of how many other times that's happened. Jason, kick charge, you, Rhino. Jason, kick charge, Rhino. I mean, it's just it's a trend that's there.
Divine intervention.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, really, you look at Dan, his stuff's everywhere, and his stuff is beautiful. If you can't succeed with his stuff, you need to get out of the business.
Hey, so let me throw something at you real quick. Like, I'm going to do this on the air because we don't really talk about this, but, 13 years I've ran Rhino, and we've still stuck to the trades. We're a little over 100 rhinos. Yeah, thanks a lot. Paul said my wife runs. That is fair. That is fair. I have this CEO title. She's the COO.
Let's keep it real, right?
It is a woman-owned business. But one thing we've always tried to do, like I tell you, being aggressive, being candid, always trying to be an industry leader, trying to be thoughtful, trying to be forward-thinking, all this stuff, is we tried things like when I remember when I first started, and it was me doing all the internet marketing, or me and Anna, myself and Anna, both my wife and I were doing it, listening to all the phone calls, putting them in Excel spreadsheets back then.
Yeah.
I would hear these after-hours answering services butchering the leads coming in. I would get so pissed at hearing them because we're paying for that lead to come in, and you got this person answers the phone.
Absolutely.
And I got to tell you this true story. You've heard this before. What made me think to start my own after-hours answering service for HVAC companies was this one guy in Lexington, Kentucky, answered the phone. I'm listening to it at like 2 a.m. in the morning, by the way. The call wasn't at 2 a.m. I'm just listening to it at 2 a.m. because it's the recorded line. And it was somebody called in and said, hey, I woke up and it's freezing here. My furnace isn't working. And he said, I'm sorry, we don't work on furnaces. We're a heating and air conditioning company. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
So at 2 a.m., I'm like, somebody's messing with me.
Yeah.
Somebody's messing with me. And that's when I was like, you know what? Like, this is crap. And I heard a lot of bad companies like that, not to that extent, like that's extreme, but that person, that's just, I don't even know what to say.
Absolutely.
But I decided to try it, and I spent 2.5 years and about $250,000 trying to get that thing dialed in, and it was a phenomenal service.
Right.
But I couldn't even get close to making that thing make money. No, I don't know how they do it, but like the intent was good, right? I was trying to solve a problem because I knew if I could book those calls between 5 and 9 for you guys with the revenue attached to it was great, and that moves you forward, and that's my goal.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do now is, because we listen to every single call that comes through that website or pay-per-click campaign or SEO campaign, every single call now, and we do these CSR assessments because we're listening to every single call, it just makes sense to do call coaching, which we do not do.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it in the way that I've come to know how it's done.
Right.
I think it needs to be less people with more time. Less customers with more time spent on CSRs, more accountability.
Absolutely.
And so I've had an opportunity come up to do something like that, and I'm going to have to find like a little group to pilot this thing with. Shout out. Throw that out there. But don't worry, you'll be in. We're good. But
I don't know, man. 2,000 calls per day.
So Anna's going to be like, you said what on air? Anyhow, you never heard this before, have you, Kyle? Yeah, now you heard it now. So, but it's something I'm really considering doing just because it makes sense. Because at the end of the day, I don't want, like, it's going to be its own division here at Rhino if we can pull it off. But it is, listen, no matter what you and I do, like, however aggressive you are, the buck stops at that CSR if they can't get shit done, if they can't book the call.
And that's the problem we have, too, is that you get so many calls, they just get tired of answering the phone.
$2,000. If you have 2,000 calls and you have a CSR that's answering at a 30, like, can you,
it's just like, you know, so at times I don't even fault them because they're just tired of answering the phones. And then, so, I mean, yeah, but, you know, CSR training.
Just tired.
Yeah,
Just
CSR
exhausted.
training devoted to the air conditioning market would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's kind of we have so many HVAC and plumbing customers. Like, it would have to be those two for us. But it's not my thing. I'm not going to let it distract. I let the after hours answering thing take away from my core competency. And so I learned a lesson from that. But I do believe it's a service that we should offer. And it would be easy. We're already listening to the calls anyhow.
Exactly.
So it's something I'm considering doing. Should I or should I not move forward? Tell me right now.
Should.
Done.
Sounds like you already are moving forward.
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
I am. We just got to get it figured out. Okay, what's next? Do you have anything? Oh, my God.
We went through all of the questions.
No way.
Child, we did. Kyle, we can cut this part out.
No. We don't cut these parts. This is how we roll.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, we asked him what was next for the future.
You know what? I'm trying to get. I'm gonna lie to you. I'm gonna try to sell in 3 to 5 years. Not sell. I'm gonna retire in 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, you got private equity approaching you all the time, and you know their numbers look. Oh my God, that's an amazing number. And I'm thinking, man, I walk out of the meeting and think, what am I gonna buy with all that money? Then I get my car and I think, wait a minute, I got $4 million in vehicle debt. I mean, I got this. I mean, I still owe this and I still owe that. And I got to use that money to pay that off, and then I got to pay taxes on it. Then you think, man, that money just ain't really all that worth it.
Right.
So I don't know if private equity is really a route I want to go. And I really love my employees. I mean, these people do amazing things for me. They buy into everything I try to sell them. They do what we need to do day in and day out. And so I use a lot of those guys I view as my kids because they've been with me so long. Yeah. Some of these people, and you know their kids, and you know their families, and you know their stuff. Private equity don't care.
Yeah,
they'll fire you now.
I don't know though.
So
I think that we're going to talk about this tomorrow.
We are. So I love that you just shared your perception of it because that's real, right?
Yeah.
The reality is there's actually, like, a perfect example would be the Ringies that own Pro Skills Services here in Phoenix, Arizona. When they sold their company, they sold it for $6 million less than they could have got, because of the fit. That to do exactly what you just said, protect their team.
Exactly.
And so that to me is admirable. Yeah. Like $6 million.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you sell out, you're telling all your team, man, you know, why would you sell out when I put everything I got into you? I mean, I got some kids working for me that've been with me for over 10 years. My main installer's been with me over 10 years, and that guy will do whatever you tell him to do. He'll do anything. I mean, and I try to tell everybody, this is the dude that makes our wheels turn, right? Because he's out there doing what you sell.
So what if you could take and make that management team millionaires on the exit?
Oh yeah, I mean that'd be a no-brainer then. I mean, you definitely would.
But that's what the options are. So like, it's a mindset thing when you go into private equity. But I get it because I didn't know like half the shit I knew. I did learn last year through private equity because M&A went insane and still going insane.
Oh yeah.
But that's what's great about even Rhino X. Like, you're going to learn so much about that. When you leave, you're going to be like, holy shit.
What I did on my point of view is I started giving a very small percentage to my key people of ownership.
So
that
equity
way it protects them. Yeah, it protects them, and they know that they're valued. And because I can't do it without them. And anybody says they can, they're absolutely wrong.
Well, this is fantastic. I love the fact that you grew a $50 million company in Mobile, Alabama. And now, by the way, we're about to own the Mississippi coast.
Absolutely. We're going to take over.
Taking it over. We're going to crush it down there, too. So I'm
baddest in town.
Baddest
BMF.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. One, just because you're like, I like you. Like, we've clicked.
I appreciate that.
We've clicked forever. But I love seeing what you're doing down there. I love your attitude. I think your attitude is right. I love that something that Paul, that Chad had said to me when I was, when he was coming to Rhino X is what I think is cool that you said to me was like, hey, listen, man, like, I can't even believe I'm a nobody. I'm just sitting in that room.
You got some heavy hitters there.
We do. But you know what? There's going to be a lot of chunk in those guys that are sitting in there. They're like, holy shit, he's $50 million.
And you make it look easy. Yeah. He's like cool as a cucumber.
Believe it or not, if you follow that recipe, I mean, the branding, the marketing, the get the right people and train them. I mean, it explodes from there.
And care about them, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're
Gotta
growing.
care about 'em.
We're growing at $10 million a year. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's to the point where you used to be stressed about getting enough calls to support everybody. Now you're stressed about getting to all the calls.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what you get stressed about. And, like right now, all I do is spend my time is buying vans, getting them wrapped, and getting them ready for new employees. It's just like a constant circle.
Yeah, because you're buying ahead, right?
Yeah, I keep 4 or 5 heavy at all times. I keep 4 or 5 people heavy at all times and all the different trades just because, so number one, so I can be prepared for the growth. Number two, it sends a whole different signal to the people that aren't completely bought into your program.
Yep.
Because if no matter what, you always have employees that just aren't bought in.
Yeah.
And if you have too many people, it makes them realize that maybe I'm a little bit expendable if I don't, start doing what I'm supposed to do. And we have like strict procedures. I mean, bad thing about air conditioning business is that, we're very, very, very ethical. All we're doing out there is we're just teeing the ball up. And, Louis Bruno told me, tee the ball up and let the customer hit it. And that's all we're doing. And let the customer decide if they're going to hit a single or if they're going to hit a home run. That's their business. And I've had some, sales techs that were just completely unethical. And it will just completely destroy the morale of your customers and completely destroy the morale of the people that are there that are doing it right day in and day out.
Yep.
So, again, it comes back to mindset. Everybody has to have the right mindset daily.
Yep. And guess what? You're only as good as your employees. People are going to mess up. They're human beings. If they do, you got to own that shit, fix it, make it right, move on.
Absolutely. We make mistakes every single day. Constantly making mistakes. We step through ceilings. We flood people's houses. We destroy people's yards. We fry their generator. We'll run over their cat every now and then. It happens.
I believe that.
It happens. So but in the end, you got to go right to them and say, yeah, we messed up. We'll make it all right.
Well, listen, all that stuff is understandable, but don't you dare run over a leprechaun or shit's going to
yeah,
go downhill.
Can't kill that leprechaun.
Kill that leprechaun. Shit's going to be
screwed.
screwed.
Get rid of us. Exactly.
Now you see? Well, listen,
Full circle.
I'm excited for you. Congratulations on building such a successful company. I know to you, you're just getting started. That's exciting.
It's easy.
Absolutely.
It's easy.
Sounds easy.
It's easy. So, man, I cannot wait to, I can't wait for when people listen to this episode and reach out and they're going to be like, okay, it's easy. Like people are going to want to talk to you and they're going to understand why it's so easy, why it's so easy for you too. And I know you're open to that.
Yeah, absolutely right now. But, get on that HVAC managers and owners group, on Facebook. Yeah. And that everybody's there.
Yep.
Just like Ishmael, he posted the other day about his credit card going from $250 to $1 million.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he posted the dude's name. Don't think I'm not the first one to DM that dude. Hey, man, I'm on American Express right now and they're killing me. What can you do for me?
So cool.
It's just stuff like that that they just open you up.
Yep.
And you just get information you would never, ever get anywhere else.
The game has changed.
Game has changed.
It has
I'm
changed.
going to give a shout out to our Service Einstein's folks that listen, as well as the Service Avengers
absolutely.
folks that listen to all those guys. I love all the comments. They're so interactive with us, so I appreciate all of you guys. But listen, we're going to wrap this thing. I'm excited. Thanks again for coming in early to do this, even though the event is tomorrow.
Very exciting.
It's fun to watch you do whatever you're going to do, because sometimes you don't know
we started at the same exact time.
What's going to be next.
I'm out there selling air conditioners for nothing while you were out there selling apps for nothing.
That's true. I learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned a valuable lesson. I was that guy that was I'm going to push apps out there and sell them for so cheap.
And they were beautiful.
Oh, they were so
awesome.
good, but I spent so much time and money on those things. We ended up building like 3,000 some out of those apps over those years.
You
for
were the king of the market at the time.
Insane. Yeah, I was the king. It's almost like, these look really good. I built 3,000 of them. Where's the money?
I was just like me. I got to the end of the year 1 year and didn't have no money.
God, that was insane. But you know what? Again, it comes right back to my intent was good. I was trying to solve a problem to keep you guys attached to the homeowner with their cell phones, because smartphones are coming out. And that's how we've always rolled. That's the reason Rhino X is coming into play. So ironically, we like to end the show too with just talking about a testimonial that came in. And we had one from J Dubs, 69420.
Oh, come on, J Dubs. It's time to update your Yahoo, J Dubs.
It's 5. Well, listen, I appreciate it. It's 5 stars. It says worth every minute. I listen to a lot of different home service podcasts, but this one is in my top rotation. Very high quality. I've listened to almost all of them, and some a few times. I would not be where I am today in my business without the knowledge I've gained from these guys. Please keep at it. JDubs 69420.
Really?
You can bet your ass we're going
Yeah.
to keep at it. And we're going to keep bringing people on like Chad who can help, who want to lift up this industry. So thank you so much. And listen, everybody else listening, please leave us a review. We need to make it easier for people to find out how to leave reviews for us, because if you've ever been through that process, it's actually kind of difficult.
Yeah.
You have to like scroll to the bottom when you go into scroll to the bottom, find the reviews and leave it. So to do that. But we're so grateful for you guys listening. Paul, any closing words from you, my friend?
A little math problem that I just learned from Chad. You ready for it?
Yep.
Brand plus marketing plus people plus training equals 50 million. It's easy money.
Call by call qualifying too. I put that in there. Call by call qualifying.
Oh,
But
yeah,
you
just
get
ruined it
50
for
million.
all.
There we go.
Just
Get
ruined it
50
for
million, run about 20% profit, you'll be rolling.
Oh, yeah, you heard it here,
It's easy.
listeners. Listen, we appreciate you guys so much. Chad, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
for
in
having
here.
me.
Welcome from
Very,
Alabama.
very, very happy.
Came
to be
in.
here.
We got 90-degree days here in Phoenix. It's a beautiful day.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow night, you're going to be in the middle of the desert. You don't even know
can't
where you're going to
wait.
be, but you don't even care, do you?
Undisclosed location.
Undisclosed
right.
location.
Yep.
That's exactly what my man Gary Vaynerchuk. Listeners, we appreciate you so much. Until next time, we'll see you.